less if it works. What matters is that we're doing what's right. So solvency really doesn't even matter with this kind of a case, which is why I like these ones better. Now, I ran this my last year of debate, and it worked moderately well. It didn't work amazing, but it worked moderately well. Same as harm solvency cases work moderately well. With the harm solvency case, you get a lot more judge bias. You get a lot more people who are familiar with it. They like it, they know it. People like things that they know, and they dislike things that they don't know, correct? You guys all like things that you know. So that's how you construct each case side. So basically, this, what kind of evidence will go underneath this? The kind of evidence that will go underneath this is advocacy. Advocacy. Calls to, well, what?
Harm evidence.
Exactly, harm evidence. So where your harms went in the last case, they go here. And calls to action. If you have a politician that's saying, we need to do this, booyah. And then generally, reasons. With evidence, of course. We need to separate Iraq because it will give stability. So you don't say, we have an advantage of stability. You don't say, stability will happen. You say, because we think it would increase stability, and that's a good reason to do it. So you don't claim that stability will happen. You say we need to do it because stability. Now, you can say, well, that's the same thing. Maybe, but you're saying it two different ways, and you're persuading the judge of two different things. All right, any questions on either case structure?
So you said the other debaters won't like it. Does the judge usually notice the difference? Like, will he or she really get on to you about it?
No, good judges will notice the difference and respect it. Judges who don't really care, like mom judges, they are told by judging orientation to just judge based on what comes in the round. So they don't know about, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times they just don't know better. They're like, that was a great 1AC, never heard it before, but I still have to judge it. And so they just judge it off its merits, not off predisposed biases that they have.
Honestly, I find the justification works a lot better with judges because we don't think as normal people in
Right.
terms of problem, plan, solution,
Right.
advantage. We think of, here's my plan, and these are the reasons
Right.
why we're doing it.
When you want to do something wrong, what do you do in your head?
You attempt to justify it.
Exactly. So when you want to do something good, there's already, like, if you are about to go go-karting, you've already justified it because you're going to go go-karting, right? If you weren't going to go go-karting, then maybe your justifications failed. But when you do something in life, it's because you've already justified it in your head. So things that we as debaters want to get into the judge's mind or get into our own minds and find out how the mind works and how we process things. And then we can present the best idea. So create a need, and that need would be in the inherency, and actually you could argue that the more prominent need would be in the justifications, because the judge will see it. You know what? I think that that's a reasonable justification.
Now, you said that they won't really recognize the difference, but
Yeah.
won't they recognize there is no solvency? Like, that's usually the biggest part of the harm solvency thing. In most
Yeah.
you can notice that your plan isn't going to work.
Well, you would be surprised. Not all of them. Some of them need the debaters to actually bring it up. And judges can't judge an argument unless it's brought into the round. So they can say, oh, they had no solvency, but if the other team doesn't mention it, they're not allowed to put it on the ballot. They're still supposed to.
If the team does mention it, like if the other team makes a big deal that
Right.
you don't have solvency, you just have justification.
You can say, we don't require solvency because we don't have anything to solve. We're justifying a set of actions. We're not solving a problem. We're taking a course of action. We're taking a stance because we believe that's the right thing to do. So you don't need it because you're not performing any advantages or anything.
Thaddeus, do you mind if I jump in for a second?
So yeah, go ahead. Go on.
Yeah, okay.
Take a Sharpie on next one.
So, does running a justifications case necessarily mean that you don't have solvency?
Not all the time.
No. No. Why would you use one over the other?
It's the way the case is made, like you just, if
Right,
one
right.
works better than the other in that case.
Right, okay, so for instance, let's say UN year, people were running a number of different cases. A popular case was abolish the United Nations, okay? And so basically there's a bunch of problems, a bunch of bad things the United Nations does. So they'd have basically background, United Nations exists. I don't know, you don't really even need to have background points on that one. They would have plan, abolish the UN. right? That's a bad marker.
Gotta press down hard.
I'm not going to use markers. Plan abolished the United Nations. And so then they say, first, it undermines Western values. And that's one reason to abolish it. Second, it causes more war and destruction. Third, it costs us a ton of money. Fourth, it undermines developing nations. And fifth, it funds terrorism. And maybe sixth, it also hurts refugees in countries by not allowing them to resettle. So basically what they would have is this plan, and all these harms, they are harms in your, if you were to put them in traditional harm solvency. But imagine taking that and putting that into the harm solvency structure. So you'd have harm, all 6 of those or whatever, the plan, and then a solvency point. No UN means the UN can't undermine values. No UN means the UN can't have destruction. No
Right.
UN means less money. I mean, it's obvious
Right.
that there's solvency. When
Yeah.
the solvency is obvious, like we're abolishing something, here's why we should do it. Or simple, you don't really necessarily need solvency points because no one's going to argue, well, people are going to try to remake the UN if
Exactly.
you try to abolish it. And that's just dumb.
Yeah, it's like if there's a mass murderer loose, people don't say we need to kill the mass murderer because he's killed a lot of people. You don't need to justify that. You kill the mass murderer, he'll stop murdering people. And there's no like, well, he could come back to life and murder more. No, like you understand the solvency is inherent in that one. So if you have a case like this with a ton of reasons and you cut the problem off at the root, the solvency is built into the case. And so there's no question of solvency. But we really have to get to case writing. So we're going to take the next 25 minutes and you guys are going to attempt with your partner. And who in here is partnered with somebody in the other group? You. Okay, so you got to go in.
I have one more final thought
Okay, go ahead.
about these 2 structures. There's tons of structures, by
Right,
the way.
right.
As you get into debate, you'll find out all types of different structures. Basically, you're a debater. It's debate. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
But remember Isaiah's argument map? Basically, everything falls under this. A lot of people try to put themselves into a structure of debate. Like, these are the stock issues, and you have to meet the 4 stock issues. And so because you have stock issues, you have a different burden than under justification. No, it's the same. It's the same with every case. No matter what your structure is, your burden is the same to prove that your policy would have a positive impact on the world.
Yeah.
And that's why my partner and I always like to run advantage cases or justification cases more than harm solvency, because harm solvency can, first of all, get kind of repetitive. Here's the harm, and then here's why we're solving the harm, and then here's some advantages. Judges want to hear, what's your plan? And what's all the good things you're doing out of your plan?
Right.
And at the end of the day, the judge is going to vote on what does the best for the world.
Right.
Not necessarily whether you want to 100% solve the harm, because of course that's in the future. And there's no way to predict whether or not that will happen 100%.
Yeah.
So choosing a different structure doesn't necessarily make it any harder on you. It just depends on your case and what fits better for the idea.
Yep. Okay, so head over to the other room and get with your partner and talk about what case you guys are going to do, and then the rest of you partner up and start rearranging your evidence, and we'll be right here if you need help. Au revoir.
Do you know if you have to pay for the copiers at the school?
I think it's 10 cents a copy.
I think so, but
we disagree.
it'd be better for you and your partners to share the current evidence that you have.
Or if your counselor, like if you need to print something off, right? If you want to prepare one
Get your
AC,
counselor to do it.
Most of them have printers.
Mainly, like what I did from the majority of the time was I hand wrote most of my 1IC, and then I had when we were here they gave us cool office supplies and stuff, which I wish they would have done here. But you just go through your evidence and tag like opener or harm 1, and then on your piece of paper with your 1IC you write insert harm 1, so you know, oh, okay, I got to go read this piece of evidence. But that's just how I did it. So it could be completely different.
Do you
but-
have like office supplies in your
No, we don't. Yeah.
bag? We'll do that.
Yeah, we had like sticky tabs and all sorts of cool highlighters and.
Because it's a one-step plan.
You guys can move to other parts of the room if you need to concentrate or like you don't have to sit here.
Do you want to read the part?
Okay. Now, of course, the question is here was 101%. We only have, let's see here. Is it your best? Yours is? We only have like one affirmative and negative case on the same topic. Do you want to-
Okay, let's see.
Oh, okay, you have
Yeah.
it there. Never mind. We're good then.
Awesome. And don't forget to fill up the other spaces of your 1AC that aren't filled with evidence with logical reasons, anecdotes, philosophical reasons, foreign policy reasons. Make your case very personable, not just filled with evidence.
Also, if you want help with the plan, definitely ask.
Right, yes.
Because, for instance, if you want to do the Kurdistan thing, a terrible, terrible, terrible plan would be Mandate 1. The United States will create Kurdistan.
Right.
That just can't do that. But a better mandate would be Mandate 1. The United States will change its policy towards Kurdistan to be open in support of Kurdish independence. And you could add like another mandate, Mandate 2, recognize his formal ally, whatever you
And
want
that's
to do.
even cooler because the United States wouldn't be in charge of making the Kurdish state. It would just be responsible for taking the right stance. And the negative team can't say, well, Kurdish will never become a state. You're like, we could care less. We're just in the right. The United States has taken the right stance on the issue.